I was born in Chilliwack. My family were originally Mennonites from Russia, Ukraine area. One of my grandparents moved to the prairies, Saskatchewan area, and the other one moved to Chilliwack, and they met at Bible school, and one of them moved to Chilliwack area. They made a family, and then I came from it.
Do you think you'll stay in Chilliwack for the long term, or?
I don't know. It's honestly one of the most beautiful places in the world, in my opinion. We got mountains and rainforests and just beautiful, beautiful nature. I want to listen to where the Lord takes me. So if he wants me to stay in Chilliwack, I will stay there. But if he wants me to move to Paraguay or Nepal or Africa or who knows where, we're going to go there.
Never know where life leads.
Never know.
Is there anything that sticks out as being a really positive experience or something that you can feel proud about?
Probably my last year at Bible school. That was a very, I wouldn't say I'm proud of it because it was ultimately a dying to myself. For most of my life, I had been, there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened. I was born with cancer, I had an immune system condition, a messy home situation, and I'd been trying to work through that pain on my own strength and trying to get out of that by a lot of unhealthy things. And I came to Bible school, and it was there that I realized I couldn't get myself really out of that hole, and it was there that I really decided to trust in God, and it changed everything. Like, it sounds cliche, but I surrendered to him, and I realized that he's like very, very, he's there, and it's when I rely on him for strength that he is able to bring me out of my brokenness and bring me into a life that I couldn't have imagined.
Do you remember a specific moment in time where there was a shift?
Yeah.
And you had a realization? Or?
Yeah. So I was in class, and it's actually kind of a slow leading to, but there was one night that there was an act of surrender, but I heard something that changed my life. It was that the Christian life isn't hard or easy, it's impossible. And that had been something that I had struggled with my entire life, because I had been told I had to do all these good things as a Christian. I had to not lie, I had to not murder, I had to not lust, I had to not do all these things, and I had to live as this perfect person. And I'd never been able to do it. And I always found myself failing and feeling so ashamed. And one night, they just said, it's impossible, you're not able to do it. And I was like, heck yeah, it's impossible. I haven't been able to do it. And if anybody is able to do it, it seems like a horrible life full of rules and regulations. And they told us, you're not the one living this life, Jesus is. And it's a life of faith, where faith is trusting yourself, entrusting yourself to someone. And in this faith, we're trusting Jesus to live the life. And it's this attitude that I can't do it and he can. And once I came to that realization, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And I took that leap of faith, and it hasn't been the same since. There's a peace that passes understanding that I can't explain. There's a strength that there's no possible way it could have come from myself. And life has just been, it's been truly life instead of what was happening before.
The things that I guess everybody is dealt different cards in life. When you look at these challenges that just come from nowhere or not necessarily your fault, how do you approach those situations? How do you look at that or frame it now?
Well, first of all, I think it's important to address the pain, and that pain and suffering sucks. It's something that, I don't think the suffering itself should be something that we should maybe rejoice in. The pain that we're feeling, that is something that isn't, it's not nice. But there's a verse in the Bible that can be used, and it can be used maybe in certain situations, and there's certain situations when you need to be compassionate to how the person is currently feeling in whatever circumstance they find themselves in. But it's Romans 8:28, and it says, "For God causes all things to work together for good to those who love him." And I know for myself, when I have found myself in painful situations, in the moment, I'm like, why is this happening? Why me? Why did I have to suffer this? And after the fact, I couldn't be more thankful for what happened, because I see the good that God has brought from it. And yeah, it's when I face tribulation and pain now, I need to keep that in mind, because God has shown me that in those painful situations, he has brought good. And it's hard. it's really hard when these hard things happen, and it's just ultimately trusting in God, because I know that He is good and that He will bring good from whatever we find ourselves in.
Do you find it helpful to be surrounded with people that are of a similar perspective in terms of, how to deal with challenges or how to get through life, maybe a similar faith?
It's so important to be around fellow believers. That's, the church, the point of the church is to edify each other and point each other to Christ, to be his light, let Him work through us. So I think it's very important. Like a body, you can't say to the hand, just go do your thing, like I'm going to cut you off and throw you away. It's got to work in tandem. It's got to work in collaboration with the rest of the body. And even if you feel like you want to go and be by yourself, the body's going to suffer without you. So on that sense, I think it is very important to be around like-minded people so that first of all, you are reminded of the truth and you experience God's love through you, because short-term spiritual memory loss is very real. When you start to look towards things other than God, it's very easy to get distracted and to start to pursue those instead of God. And God wants us to not pursue the things apart from Him. He wants us to come to Him, because that's where life is. So on that sense, yes, I do think it's important. But I also think it is important to be in the world. We're not called to seclude, go be an isolated community. We're called to be in the world, but not of the world. So, I do think it's very important to be with like-minded people, but also be in the world. Yeah.
Give one piece of advice to that younger self, doesn't know what's coming in life. What would you say to the younger self?
I'd say just surrender it all to God. Trust in Him. Whatever you're thinking is right now, it's not, and it's not going to take you where you want. Just trust in that conviction that you need to give it all to Him and trust in Him.